Good evening, good evening, good evening. Tonight we've got comedy tonight here on IncrediChat. We're going to talk to some comedians about an upcoming event here in the Hudson Valley. So one of them's going on stage momentarily, so we're going to get him rocking and rolling. So we're first going to bring in our first special guest comedian, and you may know him from, oh my gosh, Kevin Can Wait on CBS TV with Kevin James. Chris Roach, welcome to IncrediChat, Chris.
Hey, buddy, how are you?
I am good. And then we're also going to bring on the leader of this Grand Slam comedy here in the Hudson Valley, the Hudson Valley's very own Eddy Sloshower. Welcome.
Hey, look at that.
That guy?
This is like the Brady Bunch.
Yeah, we need a few more
Almost.
people. Chris, I know you have a little bit of time before you go live. Just tell us what are you doing tonight anyways? Where are you?
I'm in Myrtle Beach.
Nice.
And, yeah, in Myrtle Beach. The show just started, and I don't go on for like another 30 or so. They'll wave me down. So I'm having a Bud Light, chilling out. I just got into town yesterday. Drove all the way here from New York.
You drove all the way from New York. That's right. So
yeah.
So I know New York wise, you're a Long Island based comic, and
Yeah.
So I mean we're going to talk to Eddy a little bit later on, but I want to know about you, Kevin James. You opened for him.
Yeah.
How is this relationship? How did you get started in this role of comedy and with Kevin?
Comedy I started 19 years ago, just trying to get over a public speaking fear, and I kind of took a class and I never looked back. And I'm still trying to get over that fear. And 19 years later, but Kevin saw me at a comedy club and he thought I was very funny, asked me to be on the show with him. And we became friends, and then he asked me to open for him. Well, usually when his brother Gary can't open for him, Gary Valentine, he'll call me. And last week I was with him in Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Illinois, somewhere else, Pennsylvania. It's and he likes to drive. You wouldn't believe it, but he likes to drive, like him drive.
He drives.
He drives, and he's got a heavy foot.
So let me ask you, and Eddy, you can chime in on this too. So comedy, obviously, the whole experience of going to a comedy club is being in person, right?
Yeah. Am I allowed to drink on the show?
What is it like being back on the road now? I mean, after COVID, I mean, we're doing live events. What's it like?
You asking me that or Eddy?
Both of you.
You want to go first, Eddy?
Chris, I'll let you answer first because you're on the road. I'm more. I'm in the metropolitan area. You're hitting clubs and venues and theaters across the country.
It's just, it's incredible after being like 2 years being stuck at home, and most of us comedians, we have our issues with depression and whatnot. So then you keep us home for 2 years, and we can't wait to get out of the house. But it is, I always thought I was grateful for people that came out to my shows before, but now it's like every person, like, just thank you. It is so therapeutic. It is so great to see people again.
Chris and I, back in April of 2021, Chris and I did a show together up here in Poughkeepsie, and it was the first time back on stage. And obviously, for me, not being on stage as much as Chris is, I usually have a few and far between performances. I felt really, really weird going out on stage.
That was weird, yeah.
In front of people. That night was kind of weird, but I think after the first few minutes, and timing and everything was off. But I have to tell you, that crowd that night, Chris, if you remember, it's like we're messing up lines, and they're like, "Do it again," and we're like, "I'm sorry." And they're like, "No, it's okay. Just please entertain us. We're finally out of the house. We don't care.
Yeah.
Push replay. Do it again."
People just had it. They just had it with staying home and being told to do this and do that. And one of the first shows I did was in Pennsylvania. It was outside, and the booker was actually yelling my bits out to me. Go, do the one about the vacation. I'm like, oh yeah, thank you. because I was like, I was lost. One of the first shows I did after when they first started letting us out again was I was like the warm up act for a drive-in movie. I don't know if you remember, these drive-in movies were popping up all over the place in restaurant parking lots, and I was the warm up act, me and a couple other comics, and people sat in their cars, and if they thought anything, we're on stage, like behind the diner or wherever, where they're gonna put up that inflatable movie screen. So we're on stage, and if people thought that something we said was funny, they blinked their lights instead of laughing.
That's very interesting.
You can't make that up, right?
I hope you didn't get seizures.
All right, that's another thing. Like, God forbid. But, yeah, that was it. That was very interesting. But and the thing about stand-up comedy, it always works better when it's up close and personal, when people come up close. And now all of a sudden you're doing these shows. The Governors on Long Island, where at my regular club, they put up a glass shield around the stage. It was like they were trying to protect the audience from us. Never mind that. And I remember there was like a 6-foot rule. Like there was like 2 chairs between every customer.
Yeah.
And there we are, like, we're behind glass, like the Pope. We're up there in this box.
Chris, remember, it's like performing in the cone of silence from Get Smart.
Ooh.
That's a deep cut, Eddie. That's a deep cut.
Ooh. Good reference, Eddie.
Well, see, I was thinking more it's protection from any tomatoes, God forbid, right?
Yeah, right? Like the old days. But yeah, it was so weird having that glass. And then I remember doing an outdoor show. Governors opened up on Long Island, a small club on the side of the building. It sat about 50. And I remember doing a show 4th of July weekend where there were fireworks going off on my punchlines. It was brutal.
Oh my God.
It was brutal. And then, another thing I know is like they were doing this in Jersey a lot, where they would put up these restaurants would put up these tents on side of the building, and they'd have like flaps on the side for walls. So we're outside, but we're still inside. We're in a tent with flaps, but we're outside.
Well, I mean, the good thing is you're telling us about like the glass, the flaps, the fireworks, the lights, right? I mean, COVID gave a wave to probably so much more comedy now too.
Yeah, it really. I thought if anything with COVID, you'd see a resurgence after like right around now. I thought you would see a resurgence of actual drive-in movies, like it would make a comeback. I know there's still some like upstate New York.
Yeah.
We had like 4 or 5 of them when I was a kid on Long Island, and I think if somebody opens one up on Long Island, it would kill.
The Westbury Drive-In.
Westbury, very good, very good. The Westbury was a big one.
That was big growing up. Yep.
Yeah.
Westbury. I saw a bunch of movies there. A little aside, I saw Ghostbusters there in '84, and then I think it was in 2004, the 30th anniversary. The theater, because there's a big multiplex there now. They were showing it there, so I was like, I got to go see it there because I saw it 30 years ago there. So kind of a neat throwback.
You were hitting at the Roosevelt Field Mall at the multiplex, huh? next to Herman Sporting Goods.
Herman Sporting Goods. That's great.
That's so funny. So Chris, who are some of your big comedy influences?
My influences, believe it or not, just from watching TV, was Jackie Gleason. The first time I saw Jackie Gleason was actually in Smokey and the Bandit. Even before I heard of, as a kid, even before I heard anything about the Honeymooners. So he became one of my first heroes, and eventually Rodney Dangerfield. So those are my two. God. Yeah, every once in a while, if you have seen my act, you might see a little of them come out. A little bit. Okay, all right, baby, you might see a little come out.
Huh. Well, Rodney was such a legend. And Eddie, you played, I'm sure, Chris, you have. But Eddie, you've played at Dangerfield, right?
That was, I have to tell you, play just to say that I was actually stood on a stage and performed with all of the great comics for the past 50, 60 years.
Right. It's
just an incredible feeling.
And
the decor never changed.
To the last day, the decor never changed. And also, the crowds did change, because I remember it being the street crew would bark a lot of people in, and they would hand out these flyers that said Jerry Seinfeld, Chris Rock, and these people in Times Square. These foreigners really thought they were going to see them. So they come. I remember one time this whole table, they didn't laugh at a thing I said. They were staring at me. I said, "Do you guys understand English?" And the guy looked at me and went, it was a tough. There were some tough nights there, but like Eddie said, I was just like Rodney was on this stage, you know, and that meant a lot.
Rodney, George Carlin. I mean, amazing. Just so many, you know, prior, so many comics. Just to say, and like I said, the decor remained the same, the stage remained the same. I don't think it was, you know, so just an incredible feeling.
I was surprised that didn't get like some kind of historic status. I know you can do that. It was there so long, and it was like, you know, it was really like going into a comedy museum in a way. It was weird.
Yeah. Yep. All the photos on the wall, everything. I mean,
same carpet, same lamps, same.
If you watch all of, if you go back in the 80s, Rodney did a lot of HBO specials. Yes. So if you remember, you know, Dice. You know, Jerry Seinfeld as well.
Sam Kinison.
Sam Kinison. I mean, Bill Hicks. I mean, just the list goes on. And the decor, everything is exactly the same. The seat cushions, the lights on the table, the matchbooks, everything is the same.
The curtain, the piano, everything.
The piano.
Did you guys manage to get the little bottle of sweat that his wife was like holding on to? Wasn't she like? I remember reading something like she like was saved. Some of his perspiration was like reproducing it or something, something for cash grab. Yeah, there was something.
She put it in cologne.
Yes, I could smell like Rodney.
Hey, baby, spray it on, baby. All right, okay. I would love my favorite. Like when I meet comics that knew him, that know what a big fan I am, they'll tell me stories. You know, of course, they change from person to person, but one of my favorites was about Eddie Murphy approaching him, wanted to perform on his stage, and Rodney's like, "Hey, you're too dirty, kid. You're too dirty, kid. Nobody's gonna want that. You're too dirty. You gotta clean it up." And then, like 5 years pass, Eddie gets SNL. Eddie gets 48 Hours, and I think they were in LA, and Rodney, they were in some famous restaurant. Rodney goes to the bathroom. Eddie follows him in, and Rodney's peeing in the urinal, and he looks over and sees Eddie, and he goes, "Yeah, well, who knew?" Who knew? All right, okay.
Those are the great stories, and he truly was a legend. Now, and again, let's talk about like material wise. He got a lot of his material from his own experiences, as most comedians do. Where do you guys find the best material really comes from? Like
truth and pain. Yeah, truth and pain from the real stuff.
I mean, honestly, just for me, it's family life, relationships with friends, other family members. Current events. I mean, years ago, you read, it's stuff from a newspaper. I mean, now that you could just go online at any given time of the day and just find, material or something that occurred that you can use as material, as a baseline for something. More. I mean, I'm more, observational, and self-deprecating. Chris is more polished in that way, but I try to do a little bit of everything, just to have a good time. And I'm kind of one of those, comics, not so much comics, because I do more bookings and producings and hosting and doing guest spots and short sets for opening, but I like, I don't have a problem, making fun, poking fun at myself. So, you got to have that, in my opinion, you got to have that kind of that sense of humor. You want to entertain people, make fun of certain situations, fun of the audience, how couples, how they dress and things like that. So you try to be observational, poke some fun at yourself, talk about family, talk about your life experiences, talk about growing up. nowadays, the way we grew up, our family, how our dad treated us is so different. How you treat your kids today. So you take all of those things, that you're experiencing, and you just, you can just talk about just something that happens in your house, and half the time that's a routine. That's a routine right there. You don't even make anything up. You're just talking about something that happened with your wife, with your kid, with your mother-in-law, and boom, there you go. You have something, and then you could always build on that. And that's how you kind of how I look at it, and how I just try to conduct myself, going out and entertaining people.
But now the thing with being a comedian too, it is a skill, because I'm sure when you've gone out and do these appearances, you always run into, and even in the workplace, you always run into that person and be like, hey, you know what? I got these great jokes. I could get up on stage, right? I just saw Chris roll his eyes on that one, right? How many people tell you I could go up there and do that too? What do you tell somebody who wants to become a stand-up comic? Because it's more than just standing up there and cracking.
Yeah. You know what? They got these comedy classes you could take if you just want to do it like the one and done. Like some people just want to do it like a bucket list thing. But you see a lot of times when the guy tries to, he's funny with his friends and family, so he stops by and the owner throws him up, and it's just like brutal, brutal. Well, then you also get the people that wait for us after the show. I got a story for you. You could use it. I'm like, oh, here we go. I got a joke. You could use this if you want. I'm like, yep. Here comes 5 minutes of my life I'll never get back.
And that's probably part of it too, is you have to find your niche, whether it be that story like Eddie was just talking about, because the world already has Kevin James, the world had Rodney Dangerfield, Jerry Seinfeld, all these people, because I'm sure there's a lot of people who want to be comedians, who want to go up there and do the same thing, that other comedians have done. And obviously that's a big no-no in the comedy world, So what were you gonna say, Chris? I'm sorry.
I remember Eddie, the first time I met you, I was in the hospital and I wasn't even sure I was gonna make your show.
That's right.
And then I said to myself, I gotta get on stage, because I had that AFib where my heart was going.
That was right. If you remember, that was the first show that we did together, coming right out of COVID. Like in the you were in the hospital. I'm like, is this guy got COVID? What's going on here?
Oh yeah, it was so weird being in the hospital that time, because they were very serious. They wouldn't let you into the wing unless you were the downstairs. They were really and then but now that whole experience, I got jokes about it where like the ambulance that showed up to pick me up, the guy gets out, he's like 400 pounds, he's out of breath, he gets to the top of the stairs, he looks at me, he's like, I'm gonna help you. I'm like, you want to sit down, guy? You're gonna help me? I said, you know what, why don't you sit next to me, we'll call another ambulance, we'll go together.
Right, 2 for 1.
2 for 1. Take it easy, guy. He goes, I'm gonna help you. I'm like, what do you help me? Empty my refrigerator?
You mean passing the oxygen, taking hits back and forth.
So I did that joke, that story. Now I did it on Long Island at a comedy club, and there was 2 young paramedics came up to me. They go, do you remember the guy's name? And I said, no. I said, he looked like this, and he like, yeah, we know who he is.
Oh my God, that's funny. That's funny. Let me ask you too, doing comedy live on stage, because you've done television, right? What's the big difference between doing it on television and doing it live?
I think, doing the sitcom, the whole stand-up comedy thing, being a stand-up comedian, came in very handy, because some of the other actors who are just straight actors, they didn't have that timing, or they didn't know how to wait for like for instance, Kevin would say something funny, and they didn't have that natural ability where comedians, we know before we speak, the laugh's got to come down, and then boom, like some of them were like coming in too soon. They were stepping on Kevin's laughs or stepping on their own laughs, and after a few episodes they got it, but that came in really handy, especially during the pilot. I knew, even though I couldn't see the audience, I heard them laughing, and like I said something funny to Kevin one time, they're laughing, so you just keep the eye contact, and before you say your next thing, you wait for the laugh go down, and then you continue. That was that was fun. I would love to do it again.
Gotcha. And then, like you said, not being able to see the audience. What was it like they're doing it like that? I mean, and again, not knowing how many takes you did, but doing that joke, the delivery, the second, the third, or more times.
Like, it wasn't bad at all because right away, I remember, and I was just telling Kevin this recently. It was one of the first scenes, and I'm just telling, all the inner dialogue. I'm like, you belong here. You work very hard for this. And I'm in the living room about to do a scene with Kevin and the two other friends from the show. Some guy by camera B in basketball shorts is like staring at me. I'm like, who's wearing basketball shorts by camera B? And I focus. It's Adam Sandler staring at me. I'm like, I need this guy. I need this guy staring at me right now. And but one of the first, second, or third takes, Kevin messed flubbed the line, and the audience went crazy. And I felt 200 pounds fall off my back right there, just to know it was okay to mess up. And that was huge. Sometimes I wonder maybe he did that on purpose, just to relax the the tension in the room, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, that, and then just like the improv that goes with it, because
and sometimes they would deliver like one of the writers would whisper in Kevin's ear or my ear an alternate punchline, and if you weren't ready for that, you could break down into laughter right there because you didn't know that punchline was coming because they only whispered it to him or whatever. Those are good. Those are good blooper reel takes.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Chris, how much more time do we have with you? I know you pressed because you got a show. How
I think the middle guy's up now, so I should probably wrap it up in a few.
All right, cool. So, I mean, I guess as you're getting ready, and Eddie's going to talk more about the thing that's happening here in the Hudson Valley. So let people know where they can locate you. And you're in Myrtle Beach right now. So if anybody's in Myrtle Beach, go see Chris in Myrtle Beach. But where else can we find you?
First of all, I'm looking forward to Poughkeepsie. I got friends in the area. And I feel like I've done a lot of shows in the Poughkeepsie area, Newburgh and all that stuff up there. And you can find me on Instagram at Roach Comic. I just posted a video today, and it automatically started getting a lot of hits because I was at a Comfort Inn in Virginia, right? I'm at and I look forward to this continental breakfast, right? I go down. I hope they have a waffle maker, and I just throw my clothes on, my hat, brush my teeth. And some guy comes down barefoot. And I'm looking at his nasty, gnarly feet with his black toes and this white pasty guy with this black fungusy looking toe. Put on socks or something. I was horrified. So I filmed it and I put it on, I got a lot of hits. And I even tagged Chelsea Handler because I know she was petitioning to have people stop going barefoot on planes. And I think showing up barefoot at a buffet line should be right up there too.
The more important question is, did they have the waffle maker?
The waffle maker was there.
All right. That was the barefoot guy getting waffles.
Oh God, he was like making breakfast for him and his wife, or two. He put together 2 trays, and then he walked away upstairs. I'm like, thanks for ruining my appetite, guy. I can look at your fungus foot.
Fungus foot, that's his name.
Fungus foot.
Fungus foot. All right, so yeah, so what is the email, the Instagram again?
At Roach Comic. I have a website, Chris Roach Live, and then next Saturday is the big show to raise money for the drama club.
Awesome. So we're gonna see you up here in Poughkeepsie.
Yeah.
So, cool. So yeah, so we'll let you go so you can get on there. Eddie and I will talk more about that.
All right.
So have a great set. Break a leg up there.
All right, thanks, guys. Eddie, I got the promo video. I'll send you.
That's fine. Yep, send it over, and we'll see you next week, brother. Safe travels, and kick ass like you always do.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Have fun. Thank you.
Take care.
Yeah.
How do you get out of this?
Chris Roach, everybody. So Eddie, so yes, let's talk about Poughkeepsie next weekend. That was a lot of fun. Well, let's talk about Poughkeepsie. So Chris
is a great guy to share a stage with, hang out backstage, just hang out with and talk. He's just, I'll give you a quick little story. I'm originally from Queens, and so is Chris. So what's interesting is that we're a little, I'm a little bit, believe it or not, I'm a little bit older than Chris. But we actually grew up about a mile or so away from each other. but he moved away when he was, I think, 5 or 6 years old, to Long Island. But it was funny when we finally met and hooked up and started doing shows and stuff together, and we're talking. It's like, wait a minute, that you grew up there, I grew up over here. That was like a mile away from each other. So it's interesting how, when you meet different comics and everything else, and it's like, wow, we actually kind of grew up in the same neighborhood, moved away, but we knew some of the same area, not so much some of the same people, but streets and stores and different things where we would shop with, as little kids and with our families, but not at the same time. Yeah. But it was kind of interesting. It's just one of those small world kind of things when we finally met a few years ago.
Gotcha. Now let me ask you a question. Since so you and Chris were from the same hood, if you will, right? How does your comedy? So the stuff he tells, the stuff you tell, because you're talking about life experiences. You guys have very similar things. What's the twist? You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, different twist. He moved away at a young age. I remained in Queens till I was an adult, and then moved away. But blue collar working class family. So like when I say those experiences when we grew up and how the relationships were with our fathers, our parents, and how growing up back then compared to how kids are growing up today.
Yeah.
We kind of can relate to that, because that was kind of the same experience coming from, blue collar family, gotcha. Back in the day.
Yeah. Nice. So tell us more about comedy next week. So as Chris said, it's benefiting some of the drama programs up here at in the Wappingers District, the Mask and Mime and the Proscenium.
Right. So obviously the concept behind this really came right after COVID, because the students weren't able to perform in the spring and fall of 2020, and obviously the drama clubs, the students put on fantastic shows, whether it's a play or a musical. It's great entertainment for the community to come out and see a show, and unfortunately they weren't able to perform. So the kids couldn't perform, the community couldn't see anything, and obviously the program is supported by people from the community coming out, buying a ticket to see the show, buying a T-shirt, buying a sweatshirt, buying a snack and things like that, to keep the program funded. So I came up with the idea. They missed out. So I just thought, in order to help, the program out a little bit, why don't we bring some people together? And what's the best way to bring people together, especially coming out of COVID? We needed a laugh. We needed something to do. As a community, people were locked up for, first it was a year and a half, turned out to be a little bit longer than that. So the show had to be postponed from last year to this year. Mm-hmm. So really the idea behind it is just really to support the kids. The drama programs here in the Wabash Central School District are phenomenal. So we're putting something together, to help one of the programs out. We may do it again next year. We'll see how it goes, bounce around. We'll go maybe from drama to, other performing arts. Maybe, Wappingers also has a fantastic, music program. It's recognized in the state as one of the top programs. Athletics, always very competitive, so just something to bring the community together. So what we're doing up at the Coonan Hackett Art Center on 9 Vassar Street, Poughkeepsie. It's about 2 blocks behind the former Civic Center, which is now the Nishiwat Convention Center.
Yep.
So we're going to have Chris as one of our headliners. I'm also bringing in Maureen Langan, who's another national headliner and an international headliner. She just performed for 2 weeks at the Edinburgh Comedy Festival, and then did a 2-week run over in France and recently returned. She does all the casinos across the country and clubs as well. Also bringing in Billy Princell. Billy's from Comedy Central. He also performs a lot in the city. I'm going to host the show. So really, it's just bring the neighborhoods together to come out for a night of laughter. Obviously, the tickets will go to, will get donated through a nonprofit that we're working with. So as I always, I'm Eddy Sloshower, but I'm Grand Slam Comedy. So also partnering with a local nonprofit group that does a lot of performances for the kids here in the county, and that's West Side Theatrics. So I'm very happy to partner with them to do this. So we have everything out on Facebook. You can go to my page, Grand Slam Comedy. You can go online. It's on all of the Dutchess County event pages. If you want to purchase your tickets that way, you get reserved seating. Otherwise, if you're not sure whether you can make it or not, and it's a last-minute decision, you can pay $25 at the door. First come, first serve for seating. Also, if there's any of our our senior citizen community, it's $15 at the door, so there's a little bit of a discount if some of our seniors want to come out and enjoy your show. So again, conceptually, it's really just to support the drama program, bring in some really high quality comics that I've worked with in the past that I think would really have a good time up here. Chris and I have worked up here. We did a show in Poughkeepsie, as I said, April of 2021, coming out of COVID. I've worked with Maureen in the past, did a show with her down in Putnam County recently. I thought she would be a great fit for up here. And Billy, I just want to bring in from the city, just kind of, freshen it up and give everybody an opportunity to come on up here and, join the Grand Slam family and have a good time. So we really just want to hope people have some time next Saturday. I know there's a lot of things going on. It's the fall, a lot of events.
Yep.
I always like comedy shows. Always like to, kind of pray for rain a little bit, because anyone who wants to do something outdoors, you can't. You have to come inside. So again, at the Coonan Hackett Art Center, that's 9 Vassar Street in Poughkeepsie. It's $25 cash at the door. As I said, ticket sale proceeds are going to go to the drama program. $15 with ID for senior citizens, and you can get reserved seating for $25 online. Just go to Grand Slam Comedy on Facebook. Just click the link and just come on out and let's have a great night of laughs. A lot of craziness in the world right now. Let's kind of put those things behind us or to the side, and let's just enjoy a night of fun, a night of laughs. And the money goes to a good cause, because, as I said, if anyone has not yet seen any of the drama programs that the district runs, you're missing out. It's like a Broadway show in the Hudson Valley. So these kids are great. They're very talented, and just want to continue to support them in any way possible. So I just think it's a win-win for the kids. I think it's a win-win for the Hudson Valley.
Everybody.
A win-win for everybody. So we should have a good time.
There you go. Perfectly said, Eddie.
Thank you, Mr. Mike.
Thank you. So,
Mike, and just so everyone knows, from all of your IncrediCon and IncrediChat followers, I do have my Dark Knight.
A Dark Knight shirt on.
This is a vintage shirt. This shirt could be as old as you, Mike.
Really?
Just so you know, this is, and I just want everybody also to know that it still fits.
Well, that's good.
Okay? More importantly, the shirt still fits.
There you go. If the shirt fits, you must have quit. No, that's a whole different thing.
That's another thing. That's another thing.
All right. So, Eddie, that was awesome tonight. So everybody watching, go check out Grand Slam Comedy. Check out the show next weekend. See Eddie, see Chris Roach, see a whole bunch of other comedians. Good cause, good fun. What more could you want, right?
Exactly.
You want. Cool. So Eddie's hang
Mike, I appreciate you making some time. Thank you to the IncrediCon and IncrediChat families out there, and all of your supporters. Mike does a great job. Always catch his shows. He has some fantastic guests on all the time. And let me tell you, the guests that Mike brings on, it's definitely helps you relive your childhood, because if you like classic comics, classic cartoons, pop culture, this is the show that you want to be watching. So
there you go. I appreciate that, buddy. I appreciate that. Cool. So hang tight for a minute while I wrap up. So everybody go check out the comedy show. Thanks again, Eddie. Thanks to Chris. Hopefully he's having a great show right now. I'm sure he is. And we will see you next time on IncrediChat.